some fantastic guests on the stage. Today we focused on authors, but we're going to tell you why we're doing the Driven to Achieve Achievers show.
One of the reasons why is because in the media, African Americans primarily are often seen in a negative role. We want to highlight people of color and say, hey, we're driven. The show is not only about African Americans, it's about anyone who is driven to achieve. And we utilize this platform, number one, to showcase them and also to provide a networking facility where you can come in and meet people such as authors, lawyers, physicians, architects. We've had chemists, politicians,
movie and music studio.
Ready for this?
Directors.
People, black women owning counseling centers. How about that? You wasn't ready for that one.
I was ready, Tony. Okay, so yeah, we started the movement because a lot of people number one, I travel around the world frequently, and we have a lot of negative connotations and things pointed at us in America because we're African American. Of course, they show most of the negative, the drugs, the alcohol, whatever. But that's just a minute portion of our community. We spend $1 trillion a year, and we are always doing things. But it's rare that you get to see the middle class, the upper middle class, and the rich, other than the movie stars, in the news. So what we want to do is acknowledge achievers from the White House to the outhouse, because even the people who clean the outhouses do that so that we can have a much better life. Amen. So we want to recognize everybody on this show who is an achiever, not too high and none too low. So that's where we're going with this. Our show is also has been given birth because we have looked at in our counseling center a lot of folks who've been on drugs and alcohol. Absolutely. They can't get going and they're stuck. Many of them still live in mom's basement or don't have jobs, and we want to be the highlight to show them that yes, you can. Yeah. You can do anything that you choose to do. It may require a little work, but you can do it, and that's why we're here today. We have 4 television shows. One is this one, Driven to Achieve. Our teen show, Aaliyah's Teen Talk. Our youth show from 6 to 12. Nazir and Armani's Kids Cutin' Up. And I'm starting a new show that will be called Hidden Secret with Dr. Tanya. And it will be counseling and content. And that's because I believe we need much more mental health education in the African American community. We want to thank you for watching our show. And Tony, would you like to say anything else before we introduce you to these fabulous authors?
Absolutely. You can follow the show live on Facebook, People TV Atlanta. So please like and follow it. And you can also follow the show on our personal Facebook page, Osh Book Achievers.
So let's have this beautiful young lady on our left and announce herself and then tell us a little bit about what she does.
My name is Shirella Queen. I just published my first urban novel this year.
Yeah.
Flawed. Thank you. I'm also an entrepreneur. I have a cleaning business, No Dust or Rust. I do residential and commercial cleaning.
I like that. No dust or rust. I'm loving it. No dust or rust. All right, we'll get back to that. How about you?
My name is Christine Moody. I'm a single parent that was in abusive relationships early on, and that's what inspired my book, Standing for My Son.
All right, and you?
Yes, I'm Danielle Dixon, and I wrote a book about my purple MS body because I got diagnosed with MS about 7 years ago, and I went through a lot of changes, and I want to make people aware that you can still look good but have a illness that...
Can you tell us a little bit about MS?
It is multiple sclerosis is a disease that actually brings the nervous system down, the central nervous system down, and it wears the body to deteriorate so that way you are not able to move and function the way that you would want to.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the things that we do is give authors and other individuals a platform to tell their story. And it's awesome to understand that each individual is an author, but the inspiration behind their courage to write their book. With My Purple MS Body,
Yes.
what was the entire inspiration, the movement? And I know that you were sharing about MS, but how does that partake into you writing a book as your platform?
Well, when I first got diagnosed with MS, I was kind of intrigued of what causes it, how do you deal with it, and I realized that a lot of people don't have support with the MS. So I just wanted to bring to attention to stop people from committing suicide and to let them know that there is life after having MS and being diagnosed, and God will give you the strength in order to get beyond it and to reach other people that don't understand it, how to with a book of poetry.
What about the purple?
I love purple. It's my favorite color.
How'd you tie that into the MS?
Because I feel that if I am able to reflect who I am inside to out, then I will be able to reach people to make a statement that you can live a second chance with MS and have God control your life.
Wow, wow.
That's pretty awesome. Anybody else had any struggles? Well, first let me say Tony and I are also authors.
Yes.
We didn't mention that. We have several books, Driven to Achieve Achievers, Driven to Achieve the ABCs of Life Workbook, Companion, and Study Guide. A Christmas Tale, The Gift of the Savior, with an African American baby on it. And I have a couple of other books. So we are also authors, so we are familiar with that.
And with our goal with our books is, when I first met Dr. Tanya, I was following a lot of positive thinkers, but she introduced me to the concept of cognitive behavior therapy. If you can change your thinking, you can change your behavior. And so with our books, we help to give people a vision and a new way of looking at life with new goals, new directions,
Yes.
a new being. I want to share something with you about this young lady here.
Okay.
She called me up and she said, "What is your address? I want to send you an autographed copy of my book, Flawed."
Mhm.
And her professionalism, she caught my attention. Tell us about Flawed.
Flawed is an urban novel. I've actually started when I was 10, but I didn't actually start writing until 2016. 2016, God spoke to me and said, "Write. It's time to write." When I was 10, I didn't actually write. I would sit to a cousin of mine and come up with a whole book off the top of the dome. Continue it. She would go home and call me and say, "Tell it again. Just keep going, keep going." And I would just tell a story off the top of the dome. And my imagination is incredible. In
I love
2016, I started writing, and I didn't stop.
And I love that. I mean, my niece writes.
I knew you were going to say your
She, man, look, I had no idea. She said, "Aunt Tiny, I want you to read this book for me." I slept with the book. I fell asleep with the book. She is so dynamic. I couldn't believe it. I was like, where did all this stuff come from? And I was like, all this sex, my God. But I mean, the book was so phenomenal. And I was like, where's the next one, Nikki? Where's the next one? And she said, "Auntie, it's him. I got about 10 of them in my head. They're coming so fast, I can't put them down." I mean, extreme detail about cities and states I've been to, and I didn't see all that. Just extreme detail and all that. It's just amazing how God calls each one of us for something. How about that? And when we're in our calling, it's dynamic when we do what we do. So again, I say, like I've said before, if nobody can get on the same page with you, turn your page anyway. Don't shut the book down. Keep on doing what you do, because God will make a way for you.
I think
Amen.
what's super amazing about people who write is, to me, it's one of the most fascinating art forms, because you take a blank canvas and with words you paint a picture.
Yes.
Right.
You paint a picture with words, and to me that's a spirit. And if I make it religious on you, in the beginning was.
The word. And the word was.
And that will always
The word
be.
is.
Right, it was in the beginning.
Yes.
And that's people just taking taking what it is that they do, and we tell people, we as blacks have been telling our kids, stop it, quit it, whatever.
Yes.
Well, we need to be telling them, what are you doing? Let me see how that can help you in the future.
Absolutely.
So we really have to motivate and encourage, as opposed to putting all these holes and brakes on our kids, because who would have thought internet?
Yes.
Who would have thought Wi-Fi? Who would have thought the things that are out here now? Somebody had to be an innovator. Somebody had to come up with those things. So we have to really get behind our kids and encourage and motivate them.
Tell us about your inspiration to write your story.
My inspiration was, and when I was younger, I was in 2 abusive relationships. So as I got older, and I was telling my kids, we just can't stand for anything. So my son was going through different things, trying to get custody of his son to make sure he was in a safe environment. So I started off as prayers. I was just praying to the Lord, to help him, to help us through it, to guide us, to let us know what to do. And then I just said to myself, well, let me just write God letters. So I started typing letters to him every day. I would type letters. And all of a sudden it just came to me and said, put it in a book,
Yes.
share it. So that's how it came about. And I'm very proud to say how close we are and how it kept us together as a family. Prayer saved us. It saved us, and so now he does have custody of his son. He's had him since he was 8 months old, and he is 8 years old now.
I
So
applaud
good.
men that
That's
fight
so
for their
good.
kids. I mean, we can talk about how bad brothers are, but let me tell you some phenomenal brothers out there. I had a friend in Detroit. He had 11 kids, and he was raising all 11 of them.
Wow.
I just couldn't believe it. I mean, and so we can kick a brother when he's down, but we have to really acknowledge those that's out there that are doing everything that they need, should, could, and would be doing. One of our sons fought, for 4 years for his child, and he won half custody of his child, but he fought, honey. He took all his money to the lawyer. Because he said, Daddy didn't abandon us,
Right.
and I'm not abandoning my children. And so he did get half custody with his child.
As authors, are there any particular writing style the viewers can expect from you?
Definitely, I would say authenticity. If you want to write about something, it has to definitely come from the heart.
Right.
And it has to come with passion, and you have to put it with blood, sweat, and tears, because no one can actually understand you until you actually give the detail, the purpose, the context of the words that are used. They are always going to move you to understand, and at that point, you just let it go and flow from there.
And that's when you know when you're in your purpose, when it just flows, when you love what you do, and you do it without, I tell people, I don't go to work. I could be there for 12 hours, but I'm not working. I love being a counselor and helping people with issues.
And part of our show is counseling, even though Dr. Tanya is going to branch out and start her own counseling show. When we're sharing our stories, we like to talk about struggles and things that we had to go through. I like to share with people that when we have Dr. Tanya on the stage with us, it's not primarily counseling, but a part of being an achiever is being able to say, hey, look at me, with my story, I'm an overcomer.
Yes.
And I may continue to be overcoming different obstacles.
Yes.
And so we're the host, but we talk as well.
That's right.
And I've always had stories inside of my body. And so, again, this is special for me talking to authors. But to be able to, if I can say, who was your mentor? Did any of you ladies have a mentor to help guide you with the writing process?
God.
Amen.
No, I just
Amen.
relied on my prayers.
Yes.
I
So
just relied
God,
on my prayers.
God and experience.
Experience.
And then he brought my son forth and told me, Mama, I just can't not do anything. I have to make sure my son is safe. And I told him at that point, I will be standing with you. Don't worry. We'll fight together.
And that's that passion. I had dreamt of going to Africa for years and years. And I was like, everybody's making this pilgrimage. I want a pilgrimage to Africa, right? And so I ended up going to Africa before I went to Egypt. But I had all these Tarzan ideas in my head. And when I got there, I kept thinking, oh, I'm going to kiss the dirt. I can't wait to get home. And when I got there, it was concrete. So I was so disappointed. And because I'm like, oh, I can't wait. I'm going to fall on my knees and kiss the dirt. There was no dirt. So, there was plenty of dirt, but not on the airport where I planned on. As soon as I get off the plane, I'm going to kiss the dirt. That didn't happen. And then I told our tour guide, I don't want the tour experience. I want the at home experience. So I did the fufu and I did all the whole carrying stuff on my head, did all that. And it was just really beautiful. And when I came back, I was so elated. I wrote a book called Ghana, Joy and Pain because it dealt with, I almost got killed in the Ivory Coast. And a lot of stuff happened that I just wouldn't have imagined. And so just that passion inside of me from having to finally get there. And I studied it for 5 years, 3 in college before I went. And I had all this passion, like, and I came home, I was like, what am I gonna do with all this? And I brought all these things, and I did all these tours, and did all these trips and all that. And I put it in a book called Ghana, Joy and Pain. And it really explored my original concept versus what happened when I got there. It was really deep.
Wow.
It was really deep.
I want to ask you about the characters in your book, because I know she's doing a novel. Is anybody else doing a novel?
Eventually, I do plan on doing a biography.
Okay, I like that.
Yes.
Yes.
So who are your characters?
My main character is Peaches.
Who is Peaches?
How I came up with Peaches, when I wanted to start writing, I was like, what should I name her? And since I'm from Atlanta, I'm a Georgia Peach.
Okay, all right.
Georgia Peaches.
That's how Peaches was introduced to Flawed.
Is there anything we need to know
Now,
about
is this a love story? Is it, what kind of book is it?
It's romantic. It has a lot of betrayal.
My book from back in the day was Horsin'. Do y'all remember that Donald Goines Horsin'? And it was like a pimp kind of story, but way back in the 70s, I think it was the 70s. Donald Goines wrote Horsin'. And that book became so famous because he was a black author. It was real, or at least mimicked community. And that was really a good story.
Okay.
So today we have extremely progressed.
Yeah.
We have a lot more to write about.
And with the internet, with
yeah.
I think with YouTube, internet, social media, it gave authors a whole new platform
Yes, it
and
is.
self-publishing.
Especially self-publishing, because now anybody can publish. We need to talk about that, Tony. Let's tell people how they can publish real quick and very inexpensively.
I like to. That's our business.
Quit it.
I'm just joking because we're not here to promote. That was just a humorous joke. You just Google it and find out different ways. There are different mechanisms, and you do your homework. You Google self-publishing and find out what works for you, and just go for it. And again, because of the social media and things like that, it gives authors, whereas in the past it may have cost a lot of money and to have someone to back you.
Right.
Now you can do it yourself. It's just a lot of homework and your ability to promote yourself. And so I'm thankful for this new wave of social medias.
And I agree. I mean, one of the things that we don't do enough of is share. And we need to
Right.
share our secrets.
Yes.
Because I can tell my sister something that can take her way further than me. And on and on. I remember in college I was helping a guy because I was really smart in this particular class. But I also had a little piece of that I didn't understand myself. I tutored this guy for a whole 2 weeks. He got an A on the test. I got an A minus. And I couldn't figure out how I got the A minus. But you know what? The part of the test that I was struggling with, he had.
Wow.
So we have to share because the little information I give you, there's no telling what you can do with it. And we have to quit being the crabs in the jar and pulling each other down. We have to help each other get up.
Absolutely. You said that you wanted a platform to talk about MS. Well, here's the platform.
Oh, okay. Well, MS is kind of like the disease where it takes over your central nervous system. And so basically what we have to do is eat right, sleep right, and take care of our bodies, exercise, and of course put God first, because if it wasn't for him, then I wouldn't be able to have another chance in order to be able to say hi, everybody, and be able to do all the things that I took for granted before. And I'm so grateful that I do have this opportunity. Because of that being said, I'm able to share with other people and millions of people across the world in order to get the caregivers and the family in order to support people with MS.
And it's really hard. One of my first cousins died with MS, and she was a young girl. She had children. Her mom had to watch the children, and it's a lot. I have fibromyalgia, so I can relate, to sometimes just being in so much pain or just so tired and drug out and
Yes.
all of that, but still having to get up, you know. And
Yes.
I acknowledge all of us because everybody has a story, and I really like to acknowledge that. Everybody has a story. So if there's nobody to pat you on your back when you have to drag your behind up out the bed,
right.
Yes.
we're giving you that pat on the back right
That's right.
now. We're telling you
Yes.
that it's
Yes.
okay.
Right.
Somebody sees you. Somebody acknowledges you and appreciates you for all that you do. Because
Yes.
a lot of times I have people come in counseling and they don't have anybody. So we're starting counseling and cocktails, which is going to be a fun get together a couple of times a month, where people can come and have us sip on something a little bit and do all that, and just for people to come together and talk
Yeah.
in a counseling community while you're working on yourself. Because we should be always working on ourselves. Always.
Always.
You talked about family violence, so we're working on a family violence certification right now. So tell me a little bit about what was going on with you.
Well, I was young and got hooked up with a married man. And when I realized it and I tried to break it off, he didn't want to break it off. So he beat me. He beat me a couple of times. And then I would tell him, just leave me alone. And then he would stalk me and everything. And so then finally I met this other guy that said, well, you know what? This don't make no sense. I'll see if I can get him off you. So he was following us one night, and the guy got out the car to talk to him about it. And he told him, you know, he brought him down real good. He just told him it's not right for you to stalk her. If she says over, it's over. Just leave her alone. You don't have to hit her or anything like that. So the guy did end up getting mad with him and telling him, well, you know what, I'll fight you. He said, I don't want to fight you. I just want you to leave her alone. So I asked him, I said, what do I have to do? What do I have to do to just get you to leave me alone? And then he finally just said, come back to me. And I said, well, I can't do that. I can't stay with somebody that beat me the way you beat me. You know, I have scars on my face from him, and I couldn't do it. And I told him so. Finally, I had to end up going to court, you know, getting it taken care of that way. But it took forever, seemed like, for it to end. And he acted like he wasn't even married. And he acted like that shouldn't have hurted me when he told me he was married.
Yeah.
But it should have,
Right.
you know.
It's amazing. I want to talk about that a few seconds, Tony. Like Tony said, part of this is counseling. And I've been in 4 extremely abusive relationships, starting from my first husband. And it's really difficult. I tell people, you can look at me now and say whatever you want to, but I got married in high school, and I was going with black eyes and busted lips. I mean, everything. I went to school. I went to college with black eyes, busted lips. I mean, my family was dysfunctional. I grew up in dysfunction, and that's why I tell people, do not fight, fuss, argue in front of your children. You're giving them depression, post-traumatic stress, anxiety. Before they even grow up, they're getting all these things, and then you want to know why they're doing the things they're doing. Most of that started way back here. And one time I set the parents in the back and the kids in the front, because the parents kept saying that wasn't an issue for them. So I told the parents, y'all sit back here on the sofa, and I'm sitting the kids up at my desk. They talked about all kinds of things, and they were scared. The boy wanted to help, and they didn't know if they should jump in, and they were in the bedroom shaking. And when I took the kids back out, I said, so what you want to tell me about you not affecting your children? And so they grow up with all these different things. Please believe, if there's depression in the home and it's working itself out in front of the children, it's going to affect them. So really be careful, parents, with your children and what you're doing in front of them, because they're absorbing all this dysfunction, and they're growing up and taking it into their life. So now they're 30, now somebody's yelling down the street, and they're doing like this.
Yeah.
That's that post-traumatic stress. They don't even see it. They don't know what it is. They feel sick inside. They want to throw up. Any little thing triggers, and then it's going all the way back here. One trauma. It takes one trauma. So we need to quit fussing and fighting, acting crazy in front of our children. I think one of the greatest things they ever did was when they made a law that you will get arrested for fussing and fighting in front of your children.
Yeah.
And I applaud that law. I really do. But dysfunction, I grew up in it. and a whole lot of us did.
Yeah.
And I worked in a family violence situation when I was 16 because I started donating my time because my father beat my mother every weekend. And it was really hard for us. Our family was totally dysfunctional. And the other thing I'm going to say is get some counseling. You know, I had my clients, one of them, she said, I've been coming 2 years, Dr. Brown. I am definitely not the person I was when I started coming. And I'm just coming for maintenance. I love talking to you and getting my story out. I can't tell my friends what I want to and can't talk to them the way I can talk to you. I can't be honest and open with everybody. And so I want to also take this time to say, if you need help, the greatest thing you can do for yourself is go and get it. Just go and get it. What is counseling? People don't understand. Counseling is a coach. It's a leader, it's a mentor, it is an experienced and trained person that can walk you through stuff. Some of my guys, and I'm so happy black men are coming to counseling. I'm so happy. And some of my guys like, oh, I know how to do this now. I know how to handle this, Dr. Brown. Or I'm so proud of myself because it's a learning and it's a training and it's a changing process that helps you get to where you want to be and say things you would never say, but you're taught how to say them so you're not being aggressive, you're being assertive. So it's a wonderful thing to do. So if you need help, get help.
Yeah.
And when we start talking about family violence, thousands of women get killed. And not just women. It has no name, no color,
That's
no
right.
race,
That's right.
no sex. Men
That's
are in
right.
family violence situations, abusive situations, just like women. And so a lot of suicide is coming from this. We need help and we need to be able to ask for it, okay? I just threw that in. And about my foot has been bugging me. I sprained my ankle. Senator James Facebooked me. She's like, Bishop Brown, what is wrong with your ankle? I sprained it. I'm good.
With the title Flawed, how did that title come about? Did you answer that already for us?
No.
I didn't think so.
The title came about, I was once flawed. As of today, I'm unflawed.
Go ahead, girl.
Amen.
Yes. So is your characters anything like you? Are you like
Yes, my main character, Peaches. She's
Okay.
very much so like me. And I know
Uh-huh.
it's a lot of women out here today that don't know themselves, are in an abusive relationship, that's broken, that's been hurt, been through it all. And I just put all that in a novel
Okay.
and wrote a book about it.
All right. So in your situation, your book, when you say it talks about my son, what exactly are you covering in that?
I am covering the issues that he went through. He married one girl and got another girl pregnant. Okay, once the baby was born, the wife didn't want him to have anything to do with his child. So that was a struggle for him. He just kept saying, Mom, I got to do something, I got to do something. So I wanted him to stand up for his son. And like I told him then, I said, you can always get another wife, but you won't get another son like this. I said, so let's try to do the right thing. Let's stay in prayer. Let's keep the communication open because that's so important to talk to him, to stay close to him, and let him know you'll be there. So that's what inspired it. The fact that he was going through this. One girl tried to have him killed. It's just stupid stuff. You know what I'm saying? Try to run him off the road. Other things like that. And I just told him, I said, you know what? Nobody has more power than God.
Amen.
So let's stay. Let's stay in prayer and let's stay together.
Well, yeah, that's really true. Tony, what are some things you've overcome?
I like to tell people, just growing up, to be grown. I'm 50 years old. To get to this
Wow.
point, I had to overcome some things.
You look
And
amazing.
She
Thank you.
does. She does.
I appreciate that. Some of the things was drugs. The loss of my mother was the major blow to me. Overcoming drugs. Relationships was never my issue, but I would say I can speak to a population of people who've had to battle drug use, and I'm there for people who have grief and bereavement, and I can say in healing. When we speak about, I'm going to use this as a time to say this, I didn't grow up in a traditional family where we went to church all the time, and so I'm not a church person per se. My mother taught us values of how to treat people kind, how to treat people how you want to be treated. We went to church, I would say, she wanted us to get out the house, so Vacation Bible School. We went to weddings and funerals more so. But as I got older, I began to reach out and understand and read the Bible for myself and attend church. And in there, I found a Jesus in my mother. I saw a Jesus in my mother. And not the Old Testament, but the New Testament. From that, I began to do some experimenting myself, and I came up with, I termed myself the queen of positive thinking. And with that, I'm working on helping people overcome the way that they think with using guided imagery and thought management techniques. I'm able to be positive in the midst of overcoming negative through people like partnering with Dr. Tanya, who has counseled me and has been working with me and building me and mentoring me and being that stalk. If I was a corn, I'll say you're that stalk so that I can grow. God is the original stalk, but He uses people to be lights, and you've been a light for me in during the time of darkness. And so I say thank you. So for me, I would say, even understanding the business field, I think that's been my newest challenge that I'm working on overcoming, listening. I got some things, learning how to listen, because in order to be a great leader, first you have to learn how to listen.
That's right.
That's true.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you,
Let me
Tony.
share that.
Yeah, I'm proud of you.
And I may
I'm
have
proud of me.
I may have some more things, but for now, that's all.
I would like to say, you know, I have a lot of people, we ask people to come and be on the show, and they'll say, oh, I'm scared, or I'm nervous, or whatever. And then Tony, she was definitely a no-no. Tony was not trying to have any piece of this. And Tony's like, I'm not, just like my husband always says, I can drop you in the middle of an ocean, and you would talk to whales into bringing you home. Yeah, he said the whales or the sharks, some out there's going to bring you home. But Tony, she was like, I'm not just a spontaneous speaker. And I'm like, Tony, you'll grow into that. And then the first time I wasn't here, and I was like, no, you don't have to do the show. And she's like, no, Dr. Brown. But she did it. I was so proud of her because she has grown and blossomed and developed. I was in my office the other day, and I was sick, and I was feeling way down, and a bunch of the interns were in there. And Tony walked in, and she's like, Dr. Brown, what's going on? I was like, oh, it's that fibromyalgia. I was just really feeling tired and wore out the last week or two. And she was like, okay, so we're going to do some positive. No, we're not. No, we're not, Tony. We're not going to do that. Okay, close your eyes. Light switch went off. And she just dug straight into it. For her birthday, I took her to, she wanted to see waterfalls. So I took her to Amicalola. Well, she wanted to see mountains. So I took her to Amicalola Falls. And that's the tallest waterfall in Georgia. So all of a sudden, she was doing all of a sudden she was doing guided imagery on the Amicalola Falls. And I mean, she went straight into that thing and blew it out the water. I was like, oh wow, I do feel a lot better. Thank you. Because I was like, no, we're not. No, I don't feel like that right now, Tony. She just cut the light off and dove in.
Wow. Hey, everyone, we have a caller.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello, welcome.
Yes, I was just calling in because I was watching your show and I was just admiring that fit you guys got out there.
It's beautiful.
I mean, like, what y'all at? And I was just admiring that fit, and I was looking at the fit. I didn't know what to think. I was like, there's some pretty ladies up there. All those ladies up there. I didn't like them. Anyway, I just want to let you know that I saw some pretty ladies, and I didn't like that fit you got.
But
Thank you.
We owe our set to John.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
So
Thank you,
We're
caller.
drawing a blank on the last name right now. He's one of the greatest producers in the world. He gets us ready, tells us what to do and what not to do on a public broadcast station. And he sets our set up very beautifully for all of our TV shows. He's just a dynamic, very, very dynamic, very knowledgeable. And in fact, he has his own station now. I wish I had it in my head so I could tell you what it is.
Yeah.
But he has his own station, and he's just making headway into this world and doing his thing. And we will take this time, John, to say thank you.
Thank
you
you.
very much.
When I was speaking to you guys about, because we're in Atlanta and a lot of people are taking their books now and they're turning into plays and things such as that. I see a lot of that happening now. Is that something that you ladies may aspire to do at some point in the future?
Yes.
I think so
I would
too.
love for mine.
We've had plenty of playwrights on the
We
show.
we have. I would love for your book too, because I know the games that women play, and we use our kids as targets, and we use them as for everything. I mean, no, you can't see them. Oh, you're not seeing the child support? Can't see the kid. Oh, you're not seeing me? Can't
Yes.
see the kid. Oh, you don't want me? Oh no, you can't see the kid.
kids.
So it's so much drama. And I watched our son struggle with that, and it was a real struggle. And I know that he gave the attorney most of his money for a couple of years
Right.
before he won that. And then even after he won it, he had to deal with the baby because the mom had so infected the baby with all this negative stuff. And all he was trying to do was get to see his child. That's all he was trying to do. And so we as women, we are going to have to stop that because our kids need a father. When they don't have one, take it from me. Now, my father was in our home. He wasn't my real father. I found out when I was 22, but I didn't know any better. So I grew up with a man in the home. But children without fathers have holes in their heart.
Yes,
They
they do.
really do. And they come into counseling and they hurt and they cry. And not just children, grown men break down in counseling and talk about their father wasn't there for them. So there's always a hole in the heart when there's a missing parent, not just dad, but a missing parent.
Absolutely.
And so we are going to have to do better as women in terms of, okay, so he dogged me out.
Right.
Right.
Does he have a job? Is he not on drugs and alcohol?
Right.
Is he taking care of the child? I don't know what happened with the adults, but would he be a good co-parenter? And that's what we have to look at and stop all this foolishness, using these children as yo-yos, because they need their, now I can see if he's abusive, if he's an alcoholic or drug addict or whatever. I can see that you don't want your child infected. But if this guy is just a guy that didn't want you,
I don't think
then
it's gonna
we
work.
have to do something better than what we're doing. Don't mess with these children's head for years, and then they grow up with all this hurt. And I can't give them a father in counseling. I can't do that. We can have them write letters to the missing parent. You know, we can talk about abandonment issues. We can talk about sadness and hurt and pain. I can't give them a father. Only you can do that. And so we have to help these men be good co-parenters because we take that away from them. And then we want to yell and scream and holler at them. But we're using the children as yo-yos, and we are going to have to stop. These children need their fathers. They really do. You can hate him with all your heart, but if he's a good father, please let him be a good father.
Amen.
I want to
Yes.
ask you something about MS. You do other things. I know that you're an author,
Yes.
and that's one source of your being. Is there anything else that is another?
Well, outside of prayer, I definitely use essential oils and CBD oils, particularly doTERRA essential oils, because they actually help me cope with my mood swings, my issues with my muscle spasms. They also help me in order to take away the stiffness in my joints. It helps with arthritis and back pain. And so I am a big advocate of using things that are all natural for the earth. And I also use CBD oils. And so with that being said,
that
it
an
helps me.
acronym?
CBD,
Marijuana.
it's cannabinoid. Well, it's actually like having marijuana, but it removes the THC. Okay, so you don't get high off of the CBD oil itself. You can use it as a tincture. You can actually use it as a vape. You can use it as a cream, an oil, a spray, and I absolutely love it.
It takes the pain away.
Yes, it takes the pain away. And so with that being said, a lot of people ask questions, will it get you high? No, it doesn't.
Oh, dang. my clients are going to say, oh, dang, Dr.
No,
Brown. Oh,
but you
dang.
can have actually, in the state of Georgia, you can have THC that's in it, but it's only at 3%. 100%, but that's not even enough in order to get you high.
Mm-hmm.
So it will still make you function, but at the same time, it does not make you mess up or fail a drug test. So with that being said,
Shouldn't have said that on TV.
so with that being said, you can actually have it isolated where the whole THC can actually be removed, or you can have the small percentage of 3, and it actually will help you cope with different pains. So I love essential oils. I love being able to diffuse them. I love being able to put them on. Like actually what you smell on me right now is Clarity Calm. So that way it helps me to just stay calm and my mood is even. So that way I don't have all the jitters while I'm talking and telling everybody.
You said sprinkle some on me.
I'm like, yes, I can do just that.
Tony and I took Tony to aromatherapy
Yes.
training.
Yes.
And it's something that counselors are beginning to do more.
Yes.
And we know that each one of the aromas have a special thing that they do for you.
Yes.
And I messed around and put the peppermint on me yesterday. My skin is allergic to everything.
Well, they're supposed to be diluted.
And I turned red and swole. Oh, they didn't tell me that.
Yeah. And the funny part about it is because some essential oils are not completely 100% pure, you may get the fragrance part of the essential oil instead of actually having it pure. And it's supposed to be diluted unless you put it inside of diffuser. And only certain companies actually make it so pure where you can actually ingest it internally.
Well, I wish I had
Yes.
to put it on. My hands swole up. Because after Tony and I came back from the training,
Yes.
I told my daughter, and then she ran to Walmart and got me a big kit of it. And I was like, yeah, because with especially dissociative clients,
Yes.
and you can keep them present in the session, just put a little of this and that on them. And so it's a great concept
Yes.
because I can be doing something during my day and smell a really great smell, and it'll just get my attention
Yes.
and just, do a little something different to you.
Right.
Oh, yes.
So that's a really great concept with the oils.
Absolutely.
When she was sharing her story about her son being an inspiration, you had said something about your child.
Yes, I have 2 kids. I have a 12-year-old daughter and a 15-year-old son. And they motivated me, pushed me to, get to where I am now. It's very emotional just talking about it, but I'm thankful for them.
So how did they do that? Look, the therapist jumps in.
They actually helped me with my book a little. I asked them questions. What do you think about this? Or what should I do here? What should I say here? They helped me out a lot, and I was thankful for that. Their imagination also.
Oh, so they add a little bit.
Yes, ma'am.
That's all right
I
there.
was sharing with Dr. Tanya, like with the guided imagery, the whole thing is to be creative in your imagination, and that's the faculty that we used when we were this young person's age. We used our imagination. We had imaginary friends. We were building stuff in our imagination, and as we get older, we get busy and we forget about our imagination. We may daydream, but we're not building in our imagination. And I think that's so important for us as adults to go back and figure out. A lot of times we've lost what it is that our purpose was in our busyness of today. But go back and say, when I was little and young, when I used to pretend, what is it? You remember when you used to I want to be a teacher. I want to be a doctor.
I'm going to be a counselor.
I'm gonna be a counselor.
I'm going to be a counselor.
And just recall that information. And I believe that in your imagination, if you can see it, you can be it.
Yes.
But the seeing is not necessarily before you, it's in your mind.
Yes.
The architect, before he builds the building, he has the imagination.
Yes.
It's
The
already
vision.
planned.
So true.
The vision.
Yes.
And see, you know what? Tony and I, if you know us, it's
Different.
funny because we are different as night and day.
Uh-huh.
Whatever issue it is, please believe I'm on one end and she's on the other end of that issue. We are ride or die. We are inseparable. But it's the truth because I can't see anything that, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm not that, she says it all the time, and I'm like, I can't see it, Tony. I'm a doer. I say I want this to happen. I jump in, I do research, and I make it happen. I tell her I don't let life happen to me. I happen to life. I'm very intentional about happening to life. So she'd be like, oh, just visualize it. Visualize what? I want a counseling center. I need a business plan. I need some money. I need a building. She's like, oh, just visualize. Visualize what? We are so funny because it's the truth. And so when I heard a guest one time talking about, oh, you have to do this, I'm like, no, you don't. Everybody functions differently. So do what works for you. Don't listen to anybody else's vision of what you have to do. Do what God tells and calls you to do, and it will make sense. It may not even start making sense. We wanted a thrift store. I had 2 thrift stores. When I met Tony, I was like, oh, let's go to the thrift store real quick. And she's like, these people are buying everything in here. And I said, oh yeah. I said, I just found a new location for one. Come on, we could be partners. I took her to the building. It was towed down to the floor down. Had not been built. Had not been used. It was an old meat market where they slaughter animals. Gigantic, old, rusty, crusty freezer, taking them half of the 6,000 square feet. It was a hot mess. And she was like, I can't see it, Tanya. She was looking through the window. All this whole plaza, all this whole great big gigantic window, concrete falling off the walls. She was like, Tanya, are you sure? Every time we went back, she's like, Tanya, are you sure? I said, girl, we got this. We went in, we demoed, we did all kinds of stuff. We made the thing beautiful and put our counseling center in there. I am not the person to sit here and visualize nothing. I'm going to make it happen.
Right.
Whatever it takes, I'm do the research to see what I need, and I'm going to make it happen. I can't see it. There's too many colors I might choose from. There's too many buildings I might go into. I can't do it. But she says, oh, you just got to visualize. Okay, well, you visualize. I'm going to be over here paying for the building.
Yes.
I can tell you something that
Absolutely.
me and with Dr. Tanya, I learned. Well, she encouraged me to tell my story, and she says everybody has a story, and so some people write the story, some people are the living story, some people sing the story, but each of us has a story, and I think that's very important to be expressive. It took me a long time to vocalize my story. A long time. I'm very silent. Like we're in a living room setting, so if it was just us girls, and if we hit on certain topics, I would express what I needed to express. But I never understood that by telling your story, your story, your story, your story, your story, your story. Someone needs to hear your story.
Nice to call her out. I'd be like, Tony, you don't tell, I say, so why don't you tell your story? And then I say, we're going to de-shame the shame because secrets don't work.
Yeah.
You can't have secrets. So when I look at families in counseling, one of the things I'm probably going to do is tell you to talk to your mother and father about your father raping you. You know what I'm saying? You can't have secrets. You're going to be broke. You're going to be sick. As long as you're harboring all this mess inside of you, you're going to be sick. So we have to work on, well, of course I'm going to help you do it. I don't want daddy shoot you in the face or nothing. But, you know, we have to talk about these secrets because you can't heal. You're holding all this mess inside of you.
Right.
So I would say, Tony, you have a fantastic story. Tony says, I had 2 moms. Tony says, I came from drugs. I was sitting under the tree when God came to me with a bottle of wine. Okay, tell that. That's not my story.
Right.
I can't tell that story. Tell you. How many people do you think need to hear from you? You own 3 businesses now. You're an author. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome.
You got stuff going on now. You're not that person.
Right.
Tell that story because it empowers you to be able to do you. I couldn't talk about being raped for a preacher for 10 years. Every time I started, I would just burst into tears. I'm healed. I would talk to the deaf about it. Anybody else out here under abuse under a church, call me up. We can talk about
That's
that.
the mouth
Because
I'm
the church
healed.
was not my friend. You
I'm
know?
healed.
And so, yeah, I'm healed. I am truly healed. But every time I thought I was healed, I passed by the hometown on the highway 2 years later and burst into tears and have to stop the car. Or I'd be going across side street where the main street where the church was and couldn't.
Yeah.
You just have to go another
Come on,
route.
Doc.
So
Yeah.
I'm healed. I can tell my story. And you will be healed when you can tell the
your
story.
story.
So if you're trying to figure out why you're still broke, because you're still holding all that mess inside of you, come to therapy. I'll help you talk to your mama and your daddy, to your uncles and your nieces and your nephews. I have women and men who have been raped by family members. So we have things to talk about. That's why you come to therapy. And all of us have a story.
Have a story.
All of us.
And so that while we're here, as authors, published authors, again, people are looking at you and they see successful women.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to tell them that you had to overcome? Something that's beneficial?
I do.
You said you do?
I overcame negativity and fear. And I say that due to when people heard I was writing a book, why do you want to write a book? Or, thinking I can't do it, telling me I can't do it. So those are the most two important things that I had to overcome.
It's going to be naysayers, but make your naysayers your navigators.
Hey, I like that.
Because while they're sitting up here talking about what you can't do, you keep on navigating your way to where you're trying to go. There's always going to be people, especially family members and friends, and it is that crab on your back thing. We have to start, I always say, if you get there by yourself, you'd have not arrived. I don't care who you think you are. You have not arrived because no man is an island. You use other people to get where you are. I look at the toilet, something as simple as a toilet. I can't design it. I don't know how the water flows in and out, but all I know is I need it. So no man is an island. We don't know what we need to do that people have. We have to be, and that's just simple form. You know what I'm saying? I can't design a toilet, but I know I need it. So I have to give kudos to whoever designed it. And so we have to cut this out, especially as African American people. We have to reach back.
Yes,
We have to, and grab some hands and bring them along. That's why we're doing our kid TV shows. Those kids need to learn about public speaking. They need to learn about how to increase self-esteem and self-awareness. And that's why we're doing the shows and put them up on the stage. And some of them may not be comfortable, but get up there anyway. You'll figure it out. Because as long as we stay in our comfort zone, and this is to everybody out there, as long as we stay in our comfort zone, we won't accomplish anything.
Right.
We'll stay stuck. We'll keep doing what we're doing. But we have to step outside of our comfort zone and do something. Now, Tony can run the TV shows all by herself. She didn't need me. And that was a pulling tooth kind of thing, boy. But now look at her. She can run them all. So and I'm not jealous. I'm happy. I'm happy to be able to have a hand in that, to see, let me watch you flourish. Let me watch you grow. Let me watch you become. And look at this person now. She's teaching classes, anger management, parenting, substance abuse at the counseling center. She's doing all of our billing. She ain't know nothing about no billing. She's doing so many things with our companies now that she would never have even conceived or perceived herself doing. So it's push your kids, push them into new, I don't want to. Oh, well, try it anyway. You know what I'm saying? Because you might be extremely gifted in this area, but if we shroud you and don't let you try, that's on us.
Right.
Because you might develop, mushroom into a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful flower.
Yes.
So we've got to take our children to places. The other thing, most of us didn't take our kids off the block. I've been telling people how to do things that's dirt cheap. It's cruises you can take for $35 for 8 hours. It's go to Amicalola Falls for $5 a carload. It's just find things to do with your children to increase their awareness.
What do y'all want
It's
to share about
critical
that? Anything y'all want to
talk
chime
about
in?
that.
I just want to tell the audience, whatever you are trying to do, whatever goal you are trying to accomplish, be determined and strive and succeed. Do not give up. Keep going, no matter what nobody say, no matter who's trying to stop you, who's talking about you, who is just being
That's right.
not a friend. Keep going.
Yeah, you have to just, where you are, just start where you are.
Right.
God is contextual. He meets you in the context of your life. And he might not meet her where he met me or you where he met me. He will meet you right where you are. Pray in faith, believing, and it will be done. We don't have these little weak prayers. God, I need this, I need that, I need. But they're weak. Pray in faith, believing. He said, "Ask and He shall provide it for you." So pray in faith, believing, and you know what? My husband said, "Baby, you're so blessed. You're so blessed." Let me tell you why I'm blessed. I'm blessed because I give it all away. I do. I mean, my thing is help. You need help. You need help. You need help. You need help. But my cup never is empty. It always is overflowing. And not because I'm trying to clutch it and hold on to it, but because my hands are open and I'm giving and sharing and come on, let's do this, let's do that. And that's what I think when he says you're so blessed. Is I'm blessed because I try to be a blessing. Mm-hmm. If you're the kind of person, oh, I can't do this and I can't do that, I can't help you, no, I can't help you, no, I can't help you, you won't get any help.
Mm-hmm. Let me say this
Yeah.
as we conclude. Is there anything you want to say to the audience about living with MS or anything that has
About
to do
1
with
minute
MS?
because we're
sure.
going to close.
I just want everybody to know with MS that you're not alone, even though you've read it and everyone has said there's support groups and what have you. Of course, just do whatever you can in order to stay positive and stay focused and let everybody know that you do exist and you are able. Just take your time trying to get to the next level.
Yes.
Amen. What about you?
I just want to say, as parents, stay as close as you can to your kids. Keep the communication open and teach them to pray. You guys can pray together as long as you're getting something accomplished and you're not falling back, you're not standing for anything.
And I just want to say, I have so many young ladies who are not close to their parents or close to their mother. I don't know what it is about this mother-daughter relationship, but what I want you to know is it's never too late. People grow, they change, and it's never too late. So before people die, you know, because they say, well, she died and I didn't make up with her. It's never too late. Pray. Go and talk to that person. Put yourself out there. Try to be that person that is a way maker, a peacemaker. Because God's got you, but you have to not be so cold and vindictive and vicious in your heart that you can't be healed. You can heal that whole situation. So I want to say that to mothers and daughters.
I want to say have a vision and work your vision. Live in your purpose. Figure out what your purpose is. That's your blessing. That's your gift to share to others. And if you don't know what your purpose is, let that be your prayer.
That's
to
right.
discover who it is you have and what God's plan for your life to share with others is.
That's right. Listen to that still small voice.
Yes.
I would also like to tell the audience, contact me. I'm giving out free books to at least 10.
Just tell them.
Contact me.
I think your information is up there. So we want to thank everybody for watching us today. Hopefully you got something out of our show. We do try to make it interactive. We do want you to hear our stories and to grow. If there's somebody out there that's feeling sad, downtrodden, just look at us on the stage. We've all been through something.
Yes.
And this might be your future in terms of I'm sad, broken down, disgusted, busted, you know, but in the end I've been there in terms of sad and broken down, 9 years of depression, post-traumatic stress from the rape, all kinds of stuff. But look, today, there is a healing, there's a balm in Gilead. God has got you, but you have to first trust and believe in Him because He can make all the wrong things right. Don't give up.
Yes.
If there's anybody out there suicidal, don't give up.
Don't give up.
Suicide means that I'm hopeless and helpless. You are not hopeless and helpless. There's somebody right beside you who can help you if you talk to them.
Yep.
Pick up your phone, call the suicide hotline, go to counseling, do something to help yourself.
Yes.
It is not a hopeless and helpless situation. It never is. It's just that's all you can see from where you are right now in that depression. But you can find a healing. Don't take your own life. There's other things that and people just waiting to hear from you, waiting for your call, waiting for your trust, waiting for you to talk to them about what's going on. And suicide is, the numbers are high, so we do definitely want that. People in family violence, we need you to look for help.